Hi there, welcome to the channel and another video from the great outdoors. AI is a very debatable topic in photography at the moment. It's got its pros, it's got its cons, and I'm here today to give my opinion on how I'll be using it, if at all, going forward. AI has even appeared in one of my more recent videos. The keen-eyed amongst you may well have spotted it. Let's begin, shall we? Let me start this video by asking you a question. What was it that got you into photography? Did you enjoy taking images with smartphones, with point and shoot cameras, or did you just see it as a way to combine a hobby with another? You enjoyed hiking in the great outdoors, love taking pictures when you're out, so why not combine a love of walking, exploring with photography? Today, of course, we're talking the power of AI and how it's becoming a major factor. Like most technologies these days, AI is something that can do beautiful, amazing things. It makes you wonder if there is any point at all in going out with the camera in the first place. Instead, you can load up ChatGPT, use the generative settings within Photoshop, and hey presto, AI will go out there and somehow, it's amazing how it does it, it'll pull that image together on your behalf. Nothing wrong with that. After all, the image you've created has just simply been set by your own imagination, a tool in itself which has no limitations and is in a way a scary thought. Is it for everyone? Is it for me? It's not something I can answer for you, of course. As for me, I guess you'll have to keep watching the video because I'll try and explain my own thoughts of it on it as we go. As for this location here now, I can't not stand and just talk. I've got to go and take some compositions, and I think we've got our first one nicely here in front of us now. We've got this launch leading us down to the river. We've got an endless amount of boats available. They're going to be the main source of our subject. Go probably about a mile in that direction and you'll come to a boat graveyard. So I think it's pretty obvious as to the direction we'll be going in just in a short while. For now though, this first composition, and as you can see, I'm shooting today without a tripod. I've decided I want to shoot handheld for the most part, simply because of course a tripod has its uses, but shooting handheld, of course, you don't have to mess around. You don't have to worry about the moment disappearing. All the while you're setting up, you're having to extend the legs, get everything set up in the right position, move yourself, kind of raise the tripod up, lower it down. All while you're doing that, the moment's happening, and of course, there's the chance you can miss out on it. So occasionally, nothing wrong with shooting handheld. But let me walk you through this first composition I think we found. Got this launch leading us down to the river, nice leading line. And then of course we've got all these boats dotted around all over the place. What I don't like, I must admit, is the background, this residential background that we've got available to us. But it's like what I say all the time. This is the hand that we're dealt with, so there's nothing we can really do about it, is there? So just got to enjoy the moment whilst we can. Back to the matter at hand and the subject of AI in landscape photography. Don't get me wrong, AI, like anything else, has a place in the subject. take last week's sunset, for example. It's one of my favourite shots that I've ever shot. I consider it portfolio worthy from this year alone, one of just 2 to fall into that category. However, I did use AI to slightly amend the image using the new generative tool within Photoshop. Now, of course, I love the result. I love how it turned out, but at the same time, I took the image, but can I take all the credit for how the image turned out? Because of course I've manipulated it beyond what the actual scene was. I've created elements that weren't there, that weren't to hand when I took the shot. So of course I can take some credit for it. I just don't feel as though I can take all credit for it, which is one of my issues with AI in the first place. You've got to draw the line somewhere though, haven't you? Like when I put the image together in Lightroom, like I said, it was 9 images, it was stitched together, it became a panorama. You can argue at the same time that of course the image was always going to be manipulated in some way via the tools within Lightroom to make it the panorama in the first place. So of course at the same time, yes, it's great because it's a tool that can help you, it can help create stunning images, but at the same time you do have to there's a lot of leg room that you've got to do out in the field. Of course you need to take in the cons with AI photography. I went out that evening for about 9 o'clock in the evening to get that sunset shot, but with the generative tool in Photoshop, what's to say I need to go out in ungodly hours ever again? Instead I can go out middle of the day, harsh light conditions. Doesn't matter, I can go back into the Lightroom, I can go back into Photoshop afterwards, get the image, get the conditions how I wanted them. To be fair, that's not something I will do though. Part of the fun of photography for me is the fun of getting out, challenging myself, trying to get the right moment in the right conditions. There have been countless times this last winter alone where I've tried to get out during sunrise and I've ended up with thick fog, I've ended up with pouring rain. Is it frustrating? God, yes. Of course, you get home and you think to yourself it's a bit of a wasted trip, you've not got what you're hoping for, and yet at the same time they're the challenges that I love. It's trying to guess where the right place is to go, when to go. And of course when you get that image up on Lightroom afterwards and you see the work you've put into it, you see the miles you've put into it, it's just that little bit more rewarding, isn't it? You get that little sense of accomplishment. And I think that's where I think I'll always, as a photographer, AI will have its place, but at the same time, being out in the field, you just can't beat it. You just can't being out here in and around nature, can you? On to the next shot, and I've retreated back into the trees a little bit for our next composition. I'm sticking with my rule today, handheld shots only, no tripod. So because we've got a little bit less light because of the woodland, it means we're going to have to ramp up that ISO ever so slightly. Our subject today is the hulk remains of a boat. Can you call it a boat anymore? It's an absolute wreck. We've got these trees here in the foreground, creating a lovely frame around our main subject. And then we've got another couple of boats in the background. The beauty of AI is the fact that we can even get rid of those using the generative tool in Photoshop, should we wish. So let's have a look. Let's see what ISO we're having to use on this occasion. Let's zoom in nicely, making sure we get that framing effect. Of course, so we're at ISO 2000 now. We don't need to be that high. Let's come down. We're at 1/100th of a second for the shutter. It means I'm at an ISO of 640. Not too bad at all. You'll barely notice any of that noise in the shot afterwards. Just moving my feet slightly to get that framing spot on and perfect and get a nice bit of separation between the wreck in the foreground and the boats in the background. Naturally, I can't speak for any other photographer. What I'm saying here today is strictly my own opinion, especially wedding photographers or anyone in any genre, to be completely honest. Any individual will have a multitude of reasons for wanting to use AI as part of their image editing process, and who are any of us to judge? Now I've got a bit of a story to tell you, because I was on social media the other day. I was browsing around looking at other images taken by other photographers, and I came across one image where the individual was asking for some feedback. Now I loved the image. It was a long exposure of some waterfalls. Really loved it, and I let him know as much in the comments. But there was one little element that I did find a little bit distracting, and I just let him know that as well. But I made sure to add to his reply saying, look, doesn't matter how much I like the shot, it doesn't matter if there's elements that I don't like, my opinion doesn't matter at the end of the day. The only opinion that matters is the person who takes the shot. If you like your work the way you take it, that's all that matters, and sod what anyone else says. Should you wish to use AI in your images, then go for it. Photography is a chance for us to be creative. It's a chance for us to show the world through our own eyes. It's not for others to decide how we should take those images. If anything, I sometimes think that AI should be its own genre, a bit like abstracts, a bit like minimalism with landscape photography, just so people understand, they fully understand what the image is. Honesty is a big thing for me regarding the creation of images. It's why I try to be as transparent with these videos as best as possible. Now, at the start of this video, I did ask the question, what got you into photography? For me, it's being in the outdoors, it's being out and about. This is such a relaxing hobby for me. It's a chance for me to get the worries and the stresses in the world. And of course, AI can't replicate that. It can't replicate getting out, enjoying new landscapes, enjoying new countryside, and getting the world in the image as I see it. It certainly can't replicate things like sunrise, sunset. Golden hour is a beautiful time of the day. So of course I'll always continue going out with my camera, grabbing those magical moments. I might use AI occasionally going forward, but at the same time I want to try and keep the final edit as close to the original shot as possible, so it won't happen too often. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this very debatable subject, but for now it's our last composition of the day. We've got this path leading us out towards the river. We've got this little bit of a low wall acting as a leading line on the left. We've got this lovely red brickwork over here on the right, adding a lovely amount of contrast, perfect amount of colour to the shot. Like I say, we've stuck to the theme all day of not having to use the tripod, so I'm not going to change that now. I might have to get multiple exposures, but I think I can do that handheld with a 2-second timer. Of course, the shot will be taken in three quick successions. So nice and simple here. Like I say, leading us out into the river, boats in the distance. I'm not a fan of these residential buildings in the background, I'm really not, but they're there. We're dealing with what we've got. Nice and simple. The top vertical falling where the base of the buildings are in the distance. So we've got a nice amount of sea and sky. We've got all these little grasses as well, just adding little elements to the scene. Not my best, it's probably not going to be portfolio worthy, but a nice way to end the video. I'm sure that AI will find its place in the world. This isn't the first time this technology has advanced. Film was replaced by DSLRs, and we're now in the age of mirrorless cameras. Photography is whatever we choose it to be. It's just working out what is real and what isn't. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.